have the last session. It will be really short. I invite my colleagues from UNDP and GIZ to present the project, Renewable Energy Solutions. Actually, it is supported by communities because they plan to assemble the standby energy resources. Christina actually mentioned today that the European Investment Bank allocates resources for such like projects. And Elise Vigier and Anna Zhovtenko, you are invited to the stage. And could you please talk over on this initiative? У нас є презентація.
With us, we know this is the last panel and it's a bit late. Nonetheless, we are very happy to be here with you and have the opportunity. So thank you to give us the opportunity for presenting the RISE project, Renewable Energy Solutions from EIB. So very quickly, I think I have the remote, and if it works. Yes, it works. So very quickly, a bit of history about the RISE program and also why it is important for you to understand it, to understand the long-term perspective of the RISE program. So it started in 2023 when the German government, through his international climate initiative known as IKI, started a pilot project with the municipalities. So it was really a pilot project with only 2 million and a few communities were selected. But the idea was to continue the work of the activist NGOs before the war who were supporting critical infrastructures in municipalities and installing renewables. It was in line with the decarbonization and climate goals of Ukraine. This project was very successful. The communities, also due to the damage to the energy infrastructure, understood that renewables is not a question only on decarbonization, but also of energy security. And leading to this, the German government committed 20 million at the COP28 in Dubai to support more communities in Ukraine. But this time they did it with another partner, EIB, the European Investment Bank, and EIB took the 20 million into the IKI fund. This IKI fund now is what you know as the RISE program, and it's a little bit complicated in the structure because this is the first seeding of the German government to a fund, but with the wish that for this first sitting, the communities receive this as grants and not as loans. So for this first partnership with the German government, EIB has signed a grant agreement with the government of Ukraine and now asked two partners, institutions, UNDP and GIZ, to jointly implement the program. It will end in December 27. And I'm very careful when we talk about the number of municipalities that will be beneficiary, because depending on the scope of the projects in each facility, it will also imply differences in the budget. So this year, very quickly, this is the visual setup. The German ministry have transferred the money to EIB, and EIB, through his two partners, has a funding agreement with us for the technical assistance of this RES, and a cooperation agreement with the government of Ukraine, who in return has a cooperation, a tripartite agreement with the municipalities and UNDP to do the procurement and the installations of the equipment. My colleague Anna here will deep dive a little bit more in this particularity for UNDP, and I will focus only onto what does it mean GIZ technical assistance. So, what does it mean? It means first we're the first to start with. We heard earlier a lot about feasibility study and project design documentations, the PKDs, the famous PKDs. And this is what we are doing with the communities now, the municipalities. We're supporting them through designers and contractors to develop these very important documents and also have the state expertise. Then, of course, having these documents is not the end. It will be given to UNDP for starting the procurement and the installation, while parallelly we will still support those municipalities with capacities, also mentioned and discussed earlier in the other panels. What does it mean, institutional capacities? We will elaborate a bit later, but this is still a very open and flexible page, because as we heard today, the capacities of municipalities varies from like a big size municipality to a smaller size. The needs or the understanding is also very different from each municipality to another, but also from what they want to achieve in their plans. Additionally to this project, the Ministry of Development of Ukraine has a visionary perspective for the municipalities and the budgetary facilities, which is net billing. We also talked about prosumers earlier in the panels. And prosumers, we generally will understand private companies or private entities, associations, but the government, the MINDEV has actually thought that legally, there is a way for municipality facilities to also become net billing and prosumers. And they are really pushing this agenda, supporting the municipalities with this within the RES program. What does that mean? It means that every municipality participating in the RES program will receive as well the technical and legal and financial support to become prosumers or to at least have access to net billing. And this is not a small task. As we know of today, only one facility, a hospital, has managed to do this. And we call it pilot projects because we will be able, together with UNDP, at every stage of the implementation of the RAISE measures, we will be able to bring back up the obstacles, the bottlenecks, or the gaps in the legal framework so that MINDEV can bring it up and with its partners, various partners at national level, can change either the legal framework or enables some processes. So we're expecting three main impacts on the technical, financial, and legal level. Technical level, we mentioned a little bit earlier, this is this capacity development that we talk about the municipalities, and that will be done jointly with UNDPs on the procurement and installation part, so that the municipalities are capable to manage from A to Z, and from the maintenance, the developing the concept, etc., a renewable project. And for this, we are very humble. We know there are many tools and also many initiatives we heard earlier from the platform, and we are very happy to have been here and heard about them because we're going to connect with them. So what we would like to do is to gather all this big existing support to municipalities and try to put them into a document or into a one-stop shop so that putting yourself in the shoes of a mayor, you know where to start, or you know who to talk to, or you know how to. And this document, this practical step-by-step guide would be handed over to MINDEV so that they can use it as standards for their communities, as being the umbrella for all the municipalities in Ukraine. And we're hoping as well to be able to add to it a roadmap to connect to the grid, which is for now still in pilot. As I said, the emerging opportunities for municipalities will then be these prosumer models for those who want to. And we have talked with different municipalities, and they see it as a game changer as well, either in generating income for themselves or even being able to distribute this excess electricity to other facilities they have among their, their communities, de facto also reducing the energy bill of the municipality. So we see it as a game changer because on the long term, this could generate potential income for municipalities to reinvest in more equipment using their own investments, but also having, let's say, a little bit more of know-how and knowledge to, I don't like this using this much, but I think it's an important to elaborate bankable projects for their future and their investment in their municipalities. So this is from our part. And now I will hand it over to Anna. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. Доброго дня, колеги.
I have a brief presentation. It's a very complimentary talk to what Elise said, because we are planning to implement this program together. We will be going shoulder by shoulder in order to implement this program and to have a success. What is important? It's my presentation on the screen. I'd like to say that I will not repeat what has already been said. The main purpose of the program is having the system of renewable energy. Now we would like to cover medical facilities and kindergartens with these programs. We are planning also to actually plans that these facilities will have the status of the active consumer. Energy independence, it's also very important. Elise also has announced partners in these programs. I will not highlight it again. It is important to highlight actually criteria for those who will be in the program. Actually, in this program, we will select the programs that participate in the programs by the European Investment Bank. And with this or other financier, on the slide, you may see the programs, early recovery, municipal infrastructure of Ukraine, program of recovery, the project on energy efficiency of the public structure in Ukraine, and programs of recovery of Ukraine too, and recovery of water supply systems. Actually, for us, it's important that to include the municipalities who have already been engaged in the projects earlier, and then actually they will be supplied with a grant-supported program with the energy renewable energy programs. Here, actually, we include all the components like installation and assembly. We will be using photoelectric systems. We will be using different batteries. With the batteries, these systems could work perfectly, but during blackouts without batteries, these systems don't work. Solar collectors could be installed where it is feasible, and heat pumps. The phases for project implementation are as follows. Initially, they will select the projects among the programs that have been already implemented. Step 2, they will prepare cost estimation documents. Then, after readiness of this documentation, UNDP and Ministry of Development will conclude this tripartite agreements. Then UNDP will procure the equipment, will install and assemble it, will commission it, and prepare technical and then all these facilities will be ready to have the status of the active energy consumer. And then, if they have the surplus of the energy, they will be ready to feed it in the microgrids or grids. And as what are the benefits for the communities, participants in the project? First of all, they have energy efficient equipment. Also, the costs, power costs will go down. The role of UNDP in this project is as follows. It is more enlarged compared to the technical team effort. We know that programs technical support for the communities at all the phases of implementation, procurement of equipment, coordination with partners, preparation of the facility for the status of the active power consumer. And here you may see the comprehensive support for the communities from the UNDP, energy efficiency of public buildings. It is one of the programs, participants in which can also take part in the next projects that we have announced. And in the current status, we have a certain number of objects that we are planning to implement as a grant-supported projects, 19 of those. JZ actually prepares the relevant documentation for these facilities. UNDP is getting ready for the procurement. And actually, we are ready to be engaged in a technical requalification of those who will be engaged in technical works at the facilities. We are planning to sign agreements next week, and we will be ready to start procurements. Thank you very much for your engagement. Any question? Natalia Fibrich. I am the head of the NGO. How you actually select your communities actually you said that batteries to be installed. If you plan to have the batteries, why they cannot be installed or why they can be installed? First of all, they will for the projects. We have actually the projects that have been implemented, and we have a number of projects that have been already fully commissioned. And prioritization are schools, kindergartens, and medical facilities. And also one of the prioritization items is areas close to the contact line, because for them it's immediate support they need today. Alternative and renewable energy sources are so critical for these pre-front line areas. Accumulators, it is said that there could be the station with accumulator and without accumulator. And we, with GIZ and technical specialists, we now understand that probably all the stations will be with accumulators given the situation. Elise will add up.
When we first were discussing with EIB construction team of what was the expected scope, there was an understanding that the more the better, of course. And it means that batteries are a key component of renewables because it allows as well during the blackout to be able to use it. And that's the whole purpose as well on the resilience and on the independence, or the energy security for critical infrastructure. This was built on the concept that we did in the previous pilot project, and it worked very well. The scope was even smaller. We had very little, like 30 to 40,000 euro projects on critical infrastructure, which is actually not big, but they all came with batteries, and they all supported enough during the blackout in Ukraine in 2024. So this is the objective, to have it now the same. So we talked earlier about, yes, of course, solar panels is kind of the beloved renewable because it's quick and easy, doesn't take much space. If you have rooftop and yes, in Ukraine, there were studies, even in the winter, you can yield some electricity. I'm not an expert, so if you want to challenge this, please. But what I know versus the summer, of course, but enough to go by, and in time now of emergency in critical infrastructure to be supported, as Anna mentioned, especially along some destructed area, it was important as well to have a focus on the solar panels, which goes with batteries.
Якщо можна, я би поставив під сумнів одну з тез, про яку ви сказали, про місця встановлення цих сонячних панелей.
This is, as you said, quite recently, we contacted Mrs. Klum in the Ministry of Development. Actually, we were discussing the issue where solar panels to be placed, because it's interesting. But in summertime, when they work on a full capacity, for them it's very difficult to understand what do they do in summer season with the surplus energy. If, for example, we have solar panels in medical facilities, it's clear they have more or less equal power supply and power consumption through the year. You said that one of the principles of Hromada coverage is its locality. One of the principles is how they are far from or close to the contact line. But I understand really when you invest in renewable energy sources, please put more focus on medical facilities rather than kindergartens and educational facilities. Thank you very much for your comments. No doubt we will be taking this into account, but kindergartens do work also in summertime. But also very often resilience centers are organized and based in schools. So they need power, no doubt. Use the microphone, please. Then probably there is a good sense Then, for example, the power generated in kindergartens, probably it should be fed to certain mini grids, and then they will fed other critical infrastructure. It will be reasonable for all the communities, and it will be to the benefit of all the locals. Thank you very much for your comments. We have been discussing these issues. No doubt it is one of the pathways for the development. I hope after the first 20 millions, in case they will show efficient results, no doubt we will think more how it is better to implement renewable energy sources projects. And no doubt your ideas will be included. Thank you very much for your presentation. I'd like to add the installed capacity, 12% of it today, is the issue. Technical dependence on the Chinese equipment. Maybe you could give us the advice if, for example, we want to diversify our equipment. What will be your advice?
The question to you. I used to work in another project, maybe some of here know from Just Transition, where we looked as well at generating income for the businesses, like niche and new businesses, ideas in the green skills and a green sector. And that was one of the questions, is how could we actually be less dependent on Chinese equipment? This is also a question valid for Europe, because we have the same issue. And how could we actually maximize the skills and the potential that is here in Ukraine to create something in Ukraine? So I'll leave this back to you, because this is something that we are very interested. As the day of today, as the procurement needs to happen very fast, unfortunately, there are not much other alternatives. But for the maybe not so far future, we really would like to open this chapter with you and like consolidate maybe some know-how, some capacities in Ukraine to be able to also have a local market on renewables. We know already for the heat pump equipment, it's possible. There are already Ukrainian business entrepreneurs that are capable to make it here. But we really would like to open the next chapter with the available entrepreneurs in Ukraine. If I may say something too, back to the question on the electricity production. Yes, we would like to see it as well from a more macro. And we really thank the Ministry of Development and especially Mrs. Krum for pushing the agenda to allow budgetary facilities to also have access to connect to the grid and be part of the net billing. Because what does it mean? It means that any institutions, if the roadmap or if the steps to connect to the grid is simplified and easier to reach, then they can decide on their own. And at municipal level, for having visited both that were supporting critical infrastructure, hospital, critical infrastructure, schools, both are very important for the communities. And we don't want to be here the one who decides which one is more important, but giving the opportunity from the municipalities to get the capacity development, the know-how, together with the investment access through the net billing. And this is the kind of like the framework that we would like to build and allow after as many budgetary facilities as possible to join the program. Not the REST program, but to join the renewable.
Okay, colleagues, thank you very much. If we have any other questions in the room, you could actually address them during the reception, which will be in like 10 minutes.